Democrats seem to be like, no, let's just double down on failed policy. Uh, it's very
You know
rare.
what the world needs? More support for Israel.
More
That'll help.
support for Israel, more genocide, more war,
That'll
more
help.
AI. It's very rare when I'm the one telling Joy about the news, but
Listen.
I just rattle off about 6 news stories, and Joy's like, "What? Excuse me? Huh? What?
I can't. I don't know what's
I was gone for an hour. What just happened?"
1
Um,
hour.
we see Joy, and I'll break it down. And like I told Joy, I'm gonna tell all of you. There's patterns happen, and there's patterns. You see Orban, you see the fall of Orban.
Mm-hmm.
You see millions of people come out. The largest group of Hungarians come out for elections since the fall of communism. Right?
Yes.
Orban falls. Fidesz party falls. Peter Magyar comes out of nowhere, 45 years old, Joy, comes out 2 years ago, leaves the Fidesz party and rallies these folks, right? Nothing is inevitable. And I remember where I was when Brexit happened. And when Brexit happened, Joy, I've been sharing the story all week. I was like, they can't be that stupid. It's close. It'll be 52-48, Brexit will fall. And then I was traveling. I think I was in Turkey, and I got to Turkey and I opened up my phone. Nope. 52-48, they voted for Brexit. And I'm like, I had my friends, British friends on WhatsApp. I'm like, this was the rest of the world telling you, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to snort cocaine, drink alcohol, and then drive your Porsche 300 miles per hour in a brick wall. That's what you all did. And a few months later, America's like, hold my Diet Coke. Here's Donald Trump. So I'm seeing certain trends, right? Hungary isn't the United States, but you're seeing patterns emerge. And I'm seeing a growing, almost near violent rage against the Broligarchy, against the system, against forever wars. And before we start international with the Iran war, which, by the way, breaking news, the United States is sending thousands of troops to Iran, the war that we allegedly won, Joy. I want to start
to regime change. Are we regime changing?
Yeah. It's a friend. We already did the regime change. It's now a friendly regime. They're so friendly that they're retaliating against my naval blockade. Um, you've seen the polls. A majority of Americans are against this war. Increasingly, they're against Israel and Donald Trump. The favorability ratings are in the toilet. All Donald Trump has to do is say, all right, I made a mistake without saying it, and do an off-ramp, but he doubles down. I want to talk about the Republicans doubling down on war and aggressiveness. They have decided as of today, you know what we should do? Let's attack the Pope. And and I just told Joy, because she was in makeup, she knew about J.D. Vance, the baby Catholic, who has a book literally called Catholic coming out. He went against the Pope and yesterday said, I think the Pope is wrong with his criticism of war. And then today, folks, as an hour ago, this is Moses Mike Johnson on the Pope. I'm going to quote him. I want Joy's response. Quote, if you wade into political waters, you should expect some political response. And the Pope has received some. Frankly, I was taken aback by him saying something about those who engage in war. Jesus doesn't hear their prayer or something. There's a just war doctrine. Your response to Mike Johnson and JD Vance being more Pope than Pope.
First of all, if you wade into political waters, does he understand that countries, including the United States, have an ambassador to the Holy See? Does he understand that?
I don't think he's still a baby. He's still a baby Catholic. JD Vance just converted.
Right. And by the way, J.D. Vance is such a newbie Catholic that the church on the cover of his book about converting to Catholicism is a Methodist church where nobody has ever heard of him. So he couldn't even find the supposed Catholic church where he converted and put that church's picture on the cover of his book. He put a Methodist church on it. That's how poor I stopped being Catholic at age 6, and I'm a better Catholic than J.D. Vance. I know more about Catholicism than he does. Okay.
I went to an all-boy Jesuit Catholic high school as a Muslim, and I think I know more about Catholicism than he does.
Between the two of us, I feel like we probably know the whole Catholic liturgy more. This dude knows nothing about being a Catholic other than that he thought it would be good politics to become a Catholic because his wife is a Hindu and he has to somehow explain to his MAGA base why she's that. So J.D. Vance has literally no authority to speak. And also, technically, he was the last person in the presence of Pope Francis before Pope Francis died. Pope Francis got within a foot of J.D. Vance and said, "Oh, yeah, let me get out of this world. I'm out of here. Peace out." He peaced out after just meeting him once. He must have smelled the sulfur and went, "Ooh, he's evil. Let me go ahead and go home." So I don't think he has a lot of authority. We're just glad that the new pope is robust and healthy and a Chicago Creole. So he ain't going home. Okay. As a matter of fact, he's not going home. In Chicago English, he's going to tell both of them that if you actually read the Bible and you just quote the verses, what the pope is saying is true. Jesus of Nazareth overturned the money tables of the wealthy. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and Magic Mike Johnson served the wealthy on their knees. Donald Trump is an apostate who
Mm.
posted himself to be Jesus with a glowing orb and then lied to his idiot supporters and said, "No, I thought I was being a doctor." JD Vance defends that because he has to defend it, right? His job is to defend whatever foolishness and apostasy and horrors that Trump does. But by defending him, he's just proving what a poor Catholic he is. The authority on what Catholics believe is not JD Vance or Donald Trump. It's the Pope. So
They're literally going against I can't even make this up. They're
no,
saying the Pope is wrong, folks.
he doesn't know.
Yeah, like JD Vance is saying, I think the Pope is incorrect about his theology about these wars. And
What does he know about theology?
yeah,
He's just the Pope.
yeah. I mean, who is more Catholic than Lee? Oh, yes, the Pope. And then today, Mike Johnson doubled down against the Pope. And we shouldn't forget, Joy, because you believe in God as well. And I haven't talked to you in a while. Last Sunday, can you just tell people how significant Easter is for Christians?
It is the holiest day of the year. People tend to think Christmas is the most fun holiday and everybody loves, but Christmas is not. Christmas is the birth of Jesus. It is a merger, honestly, between the Catholic Church, which simply adopted the holidays of the pagans that were conquered by Catholic armies, and so they adopted Christmas as the day of the birth of Jesus, even though it is, again, I think it's Saturnalia or some other pagan holiday, but they absorbed it. Okay, it's holy. But the day that really matters most, what really matters most to Christians, period, not just Catholics, but all Christians, is this notion that Jesus of Nazareth was not just any saint or not just any holy man, but that he was the Son of God who was crucified and then after 3 days, after being entombed for 3 days, rose from the dead. There is no day holier to Christians than Easter, okay? Than what we call Easter. We call it Resurrection Sunday if you don't like using the pagan terminology. Easter is a pagan term. And so Donald Trump has defamed and defiled not one, but two Easters, because there are two. Orthodox Christians have a different day that they celebrate as their holy day of their version of Easter. On the first Easter, Donald Trump put up his, I think this was the destroy all civilizations, praise be Allah,
Yeah,
praise be to Allah.
converts to Islam to mock Islam, uses the F word, threatens
Open the effing
genocide.
straight.
Yeah,
Yes.
and to this day, folks, I've been following. He has not posted Happy Easter.
Correct. He just did praise be to Allah, open the effing straight. Then, and maybe I'm getting them out of order. He did a post in which he said, "This is going to be Bridge Day, and whatever day. And if you don't open the straight, hell will REIGN. Hell will reign. REIGN means to rule. RAIN means to rain down. Now, this could have been a Freudian slip, or, he maybe can't spell, which wouldn't shock me because Donald Trump
Yeah.
doesn't seem so smart. But this supposedly Ivy League educated man mixed up rain and rain. Or it was a Freudian slip. Because as a Christian, if you write the words hell will reign, REGIN, are you not summoning demons? And then, as if to say, yes, fools who pretend that I'm a Christian, I was summoning demons. On Orthodox Easter, Donald Trump posts an image of himself in the garb formerly associated in art with Jesus standing over a body of a man that looks like Jeffrey Epstein,
Yep.
maybe raising him from the dead with the golden orb in his hand, and standing around him are various white people that are either a nurse. I think one looked like a nurse, one looked like a military person, but they're all reverently looking up at Trump as if he is the Lord Almighty. And then above his head, there's an American flag. There's way in the distance the Statue of Liberty, which I don't know why he has that since he hates immigrants. But then floating in the air, there are military planes. And then above him are three beings in the air, one of which has three horns,
Yeah,
one
parody.
of which has three, is this the horns? As if he is mocking his own supporters. Remember, 80% of white evangelical Christians voted for Trump all three times. They are his strongest support base, white evangelical Christians. The next strongest are white Catholics, okay? As if he's mocking them to their face, playing in their face and saying, I, Donald Trump, am God, and I am the God that summons demons. It's demonic. If you really are a Christian, this is antichrist behavior. And he's almost bragging about antichrist behavior, playing in their face. And then he has so little respect for his supporters, his evangelical, the Paula Whites of the world, who said he is like Jesus. He
Yep.
went in the Oval Office. Where was the outrage, right? He said no one has been persecuted like Jesus until you, Donald Trump. They didn't have no problem with that. He summoned demons in an image of himself as God. I don't know how you get more demonic and antichrist than that. Oh,
And
by the way, he didn't put his hand on the Bible when he got inaugurated. So that should have been a clue too.
and also, folks, if you haven't followed, I know there's so much news. He then came out and gaslit his own base and said it's fake news. No, I was a Red Cross. I thought it was Red Cross because you had Red Cross workers dress up like Jesus with orbs of light emanating from their hands, resurrecting Jeffrey Epstein. I showed it to my wife, who's a doctor. She goes, "No, I think he thinks himself as Jesus." So it's been a week's long worth of blasphemy,
Yes.
comparing himself to Jesus, mocking the Pope, threatening genocide. He still has not said Happy Easter. Joy, I was telling folks, at the bare minimum, all he could have said was this: Happy Easter. Wouldn't that have been enough for you as a Christian? Just say Happy Easter, even if you put an emoji of like Bugs Bunny.
You jump right up on the rabbit. Right, exactly. No, it is so weird that Christians have adopted the whole rabbit thing. It's a whole pagan thing, y'all, and the Christmas tree too. It literally says in the Bible, "Thou shalt not raise up a tree of tinsel and decorate it with silver." It says that in the Bible, and Christians are like, "Christmas tree, rabbit on Easter." I mean, it's all really ironic, but I'm not going to go into that sort of theology stuff with y'all. But it is weird. But it is the Catholic Church is like great marketing, right? They would come to a group of pagan people and they'd say, "Hey, you want to be Catholic?" And they're like, "Not really." And they're like, "What if we let you do Saturnalia?" And they're like, "Oh, we can still do Saturnalia?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll just call it Easter." They're like, "Sold."
So, yeah. What about like orgies and worshiping pagan? Nah, you got to stop the orgies and the
Yeah.
pagan gods. But
Yeah.
it is more and more. I've come up with the analogy. I've been saying this for years. Is that Donald Trump is the closest that I've seen to, especially in America, our version of the Pharaoh. And the story of Moses and Pharaoh. Believe it or not, in the Quran, the two characters who are mentioned the most are Moses and Pharaoh. And it's
Mhm.
the story where I literally see, you know, it, I joke. I'm like, I always want to be a fly on the wall at that exact moment where Moses comes down from Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments, right? And he tells his people, he goes, listen, God
Mhm.
saved us. We survived the Pharaoh. We survived the plagues. You saw the miracle. The Red Sea took out the Pharaoh, right? Listen, I'm going to go and talk to God. I'll be back. Just trust me. I'll be back. I'm leaving Aaron, who's my brother, who's also a prophet. Just don't be a pagan for like, I don't know, 40 days. And maybe
Right.
just don't do an orgy, right? So Moses goes up and people are like, well, it's been 38 days. Time to get our orgy on. Time to create a golden calf. Moses comes down. He goes, God is pleased with me. I got the 10 Commandments. I can't wait to share. And I just want to be in the fly on the wall right when Moses turns around. Sees like,
It's slow motion, like, "Toot, toot, toot, toot,
it
toot, toot."
just like he sees this orgy. And I always thought about that, but that's America, isn't it? Like we
Yes.
literally are the United States of amnesia. Like we just do not learn. And then you still have these Americans. I'm sure you still saw some of these cult members when they were questioned. Well, Donald Trump is just AI. Oh, that's just the fake news. Don't believe the evidence of your eyes and ears. And like this guy is literally the closest we've ever seen anyone come to a modern pharaoh. The modern, he has literally a parademon behind him. He's committing
Yes.
blasphemy. He can't even say Happy Easter. He's as close to the Antichrist and Pharaoh as possible. And still, many of these white Christians are like, this is our guy. Let's go to
100%.
war. Let's go kill these Muslims. Let's go bring about a rapture. And you know what? F the Pope. That's
Yeah.
how we win.
It is amazing to me because I love that you went to the story of Moses, and the 10 Commandments, because Donald Trump has broken nearly all of them. "Thou shalt not raise unto thee any graven image or anything that is in the air or in the earth." Graven image, check. "Thou shalt not kill," check. "Thou shalt not steal," check. "Thou shalt not covet." What is Israel if not covetousness in the form of a nation? It
Mm.
covets Iraq's land. It covets Lebanon's land. It covets Syria's land. It covets Saudi Arabia's land. It covets part of Egypt. Covetousness is literally all that Zionism is. It's people who are in Europe look over at Palestine and say, I want, it's mine, I'll take, and I'll use violence. Thou shalt not covet, right? Donald Trump
Lebanon. I'll
is
take that too.
Lebanon, we'll take it all. I mean, and literally, "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit genocide." You could say, right? And yet, it's so interesting to me that the people who love Trump, they love to live in the Old Testament, this Testament that you and I are talking about now. They really ignore the New Testament because they
Right.
think Jesus is too woke. In fact, Christianity Today did a story about the fact that in modern white evangelical churches, pastors are finding that they can't teach Jesus because their flocks reject it because they see Jesus as too woke. Jesus came to overturn the rule of the Pharisees, the scribes and the Pharisees, who were the religious leaders of the day. He found them to be evil because he said, you are pretending to love God when all you love is wealth. You covet wealth and you covet the sort of power of being with Rome. You are representing Rome rather than the Lord. And so what Jesus was a woke radical against the wealthy and against the privilege and against the power of Rome. That's why he got lynched.
Can
And
you can
and
you can you remind people in the New Testament what Jesus said, the warning to the rich man who asked if he could enter heaven?
he said it would be easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. He walked into that place where the money changers, the literal money changers, the Wall Street of their time, were exchanging money, and he flipped the tables angrily. It was the angriest Jesus ever was. Everything he did, he gave away when he found the bounty of if you can make food and wine. Well, that's a pretty good deal. But he made food and wine out of a miracle and gave it to the poor for free. Jesus was like OG woke. He was, as somebody just said in FMB just said it in the chat. Jesus was as woke, and that's why they hate him, and that's why they do things like try to lie on him and say no, empathy is what's evil, not
No,
care for the poor. That's evil. Caring for the poor is evil. Caring for the sick and the elderly and the immigrant, that's evil. That's what
didn't
they
Jesus
say.
ask for a copay when he divided the fish and the loaves?
Right. He said, "Now, which one of y'all got some money to go ahead and pay for me for this food?" And said, "You don't get loaves and fishes for free,
I
you
know.
greedy
Where's the
bastards.
SNAP benefit? Show me the cash. I think
You
this
all
is
want welfare? Not on my dime."
And folks, it's all
No.
connected. It's all connected because if you look at what's happening in Iran, if you look at this coalition of the wealthy, the greedy, the people who have used and abused Jesus as a mascot, it's a religious war for them. It's a financial war for them. It's a military industrial complex that fills their coffers, right? Let's not forget that Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, all these folks are these fake Christians, right? Like Mike Huckabee, Christian Zionist, cosplay crusader, Pete Kekseth, right, who's praying on bended knee in Jesus'
For
name
violence.
for violence, for war crimes, baby Catholic JD Vance, literally going against the Pope because the reason why Donald Trump is so pissed off at the Pope is the Pope is saying this war is wrong, this war is immoral. And Donald Trump, even yesterday, went against the Pope. He can't stand it. So they're literally going against the Pope. JD Vance
Yes.
going against the Pope in furtherance of this war that profits the military industrial complex and the world's worst people, the modern day pharaohs, Donald Trump and also Benjamin Netanyahu. Then you have these wolves in sheep's clothing like Huckabee and Pete Kekseth, right? Using God's name for this illegal war. Then you got Lindsey Graham, who said literally in the first week, this is a religious war. I'm going to go to Disneyland.
But you don't and have a bubble wand. My favorite thing about his trip to Disneyland was the bubble wand. I'm almost like, I think he should always have that bubble wand. Like, I feel like Lindsey Graham should never be seen in public without the bubble wand.
He goes, "I love women. I love heterosexual women, and this is a religious war." It's
I'm going to point this bubble wand at the woman of my choice and turn her into my goodly wife.
yeah. She
Boom! But you're
Boom,
my
I
wife.
can't find her. She says, "I can't find her. I need to go find myself a frog in Disneyland." And just turn one of those frogs into my
My,
lady.
my goodly wife.
You're allowed to make fun of Lindsey Graham because he's a hypocrite, but you're seeing these people use and abuse religion in furtherance of the Broligarchy's agenda, the use and abuse of Jesus in furtherance of the military-industrial complex to get the oil, right? Some people want the rapture, some
Yeah.
people want control, some people want to stay out of jail, Benjamin Netanyahu, but there's
Mhm.
also wealth. And you're seeing the Broligarchy just go all in with it. You're seeing Palantir say, yes, war, fantastic, surveillance. Oracle, fantastic. Amazon, yes. Everyone's all in it, right? And as this is happening, you're seeing this growing rage, Joy, because connecting the dots, the group of people are profiting off of literally genocide, off of misery, off of war, off of death, are the Broligarchs. And I was happy to tell Joy a few of these stories. Um,
That's crazy.
we're talking about patterns, right? We're talking about
Yeah.
what was Orban was inevitable until he wasn't. The
Mhm.
Pharaoh
Mhm.
was inevitable until he wasn't, right? USSR was inevitable until it wasn't. America, some would say, was inevitable until it wasn't. We're seeing the
Mhm.
collapse. You saw in the past week a couple of stories that I'm paying attention to because I think they're short. It reveals the rage of the people. You saw a story where in Oregon, in an Amazon warehouse, a worker dropped dead, and then the field manager told the other workers to work around the
Mm.
dead body.
It's
You
crazy.
saw a story a couple of days ago. There's an arson suspect in the California warehouse who was arrested at the Kimberly Clark paper goods facility in Ontario, California. He filmed himself burning down the Kimberly Clark paper factory, and he said all you had to do was pay us.
Mm.
You're seeing over the weekend a young man engage in an act of arson against Sam Altman's house. Thankfully, no
Mm.
one was hurt. But he said AI is going to cause the human extinction of all of us, right? And then you saw the guy who burned down the paper factory liken himself to Luigi Mangione, the alleged suspect who killed the healthcare executive, the United Healthcare executive. And a majority of Americans side with Luigi Mangione. As
Mm.
that's happening, folks, just today, remember Allbirds? Oh, I bought a shoe from them once. Allbirds, yeah. If you haven't followed this story, can't make this shit up. Struggling shoe retailer Allbirds makes bizarre pivot from shoes to AI. Stock explodes more than 300%. And I'm sitting there
Mm.
thinking, this bubble's gonna burst. These
Yeah.
mother effers are literally raping our girls, raping our resources,
Mhm.
raping the earth. They're all in there together. David Sachs is Donald Trump's czar of AI and crypto. David Sachs' buddy for the longest time is Peter Thiel. Peter
Mhm.
Thiel groomed JD Vance, brought him to the White House. Peter Thiel is using the Antichrist language. Peter Thiel is also buddies with Elon Musk. Elon Musk gave $200 million to Donald Trump so Donald Trump could become president. Elon Musk, through Doge, stole our resources and our private information. Alex Karp, is the founder, the CEO of Palantir, which Thiel helped create. Peter Thiel told Ehud Barak to literally invest in Palantir. I mean, Joy, I see a pattern. Am I wrong here?
You are not wrong. And the thing about it is, as I listen to you recount all of that and so well done and succinctly done, what we are seeing, Waj, and it's interesting for us as brown people to watch this happen. We're seeing, and this is gonna, I know it's gonna make the MAGA mad, but I feel like it's kind of our mission in life to upset them. We're doing it, for the right reasons. Scaring is caring, but this is some truth they need to sit with. Because the audience for what the Broligarchy has been doing for all of my lifetime, and you're younger than me, so I'll just say all of my lifetime and maybe even before, has really been directed at young white men.
Mm,
Meaning that maintaining the rage, anger, and emotional instability of young white men has been the coin of the realm of conservatism for all my whole life. They want young white men to be angry at young white women for not marrying them and having their babies, or
mm,
for having babies with non-white men. They wanted to, way before any of us were born, they the way that they enforced that to try to force white women to feel like their only salvation was white men was to lynch any black man that even looked at a white woman, right?
Mm.
They wanted them to fear black men are prowling the world to try to take them and rape them, even though they were raping so many black women that they invented light-skinned people.
Mm.
Right? Like those didn't even exist in Africa. They exist here. And then they like made up names for the different kind of rape. It was the quadroons, octoroons. They were raping so many. They invented a whole new kind of black person. Okay. But they wanted to project that out and say, no, 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 white women, you need to come with us. And when white women said, you know what, not only are we not necessarily going to do that, we may still have kids with some brothers, but we also want to break out and go to work. We don't want to come home back to the kitchen after World War II when we took all those jobs because y'all were all fighting the war. We actually like getting money. Then they said, you know what, I actually wouldn't mind having birth control. Then they said, you know what, I think we should have abortion rights. They're like pissed at white women, right?
Right.
And they're also pissed, obviously, at black people for trying to have equality. You know, they have 90% of the CEO positions and 99%. But if black people get like 1%, they're pissed off. But they want to keep white young men angry. And MAGA really perfected that. They really went hard, particularly from Gamergate on, at young white men and said, y'all had a 400-year head start on black and brown people, and you still ain't got shit. And
Mm.
you know why you still ain't got shit? Black people, non-white immigrants, Muslims, white women. Those people are the ones keeping you down. You're naturally superior. You don't even have to go to college. They told them, don't go to college. College is a joke. College is a waste. You're just naturally superior because you're a white man. What are you talking about? You come from European stock. You had a 400-year head start. You're still behind because of them. And they got them so angry. And then they said, we're going to fix this for you. MAGA said, we're going to deport all them non-white immigrants. We're going to get them the hell out. And if they don't get out, we're going to throw them at a concentration camp. And they said, ooh, okay, that sounds good. We'll get them out. And they said, you know what other problem is you're having? You know what? You know why you can't get a woman? Because you got a lot of men pretending to be women. Like the women aren't even like clearly you don't even know who's a woman anymore. You can't even trust it. You find like a real good, cute looking woman. Turns out that's a man that was born in a man. We're going to get them trans out of here too. And they say, yeah, that sounds good. And they say, you know what else? Biden making everything cost too much. Trump will get them prices down so you can at least afford. You can't even take a woman out. You're so broke, you can't even afford to take a woman out on a date. We'll get those prices down for you. Yeah, that's right. And by the way, we're going to take all them Negroes and women and brown people and Muslims. We're going to take them all out of them good government jobs and fire all of them and give all those jobs to you. You get to be defense secretary, even though you got no damn qualifications. You get to head the transportation administration, even though you was on the real world. Don't nobody know what you ever did in your life. You get to have all the good jobs, even if you ain't fucking qualified. We're going to make you run this country, even with no qualifications, even though you suck, you're stupid. We don't care. You just gonna walk in the door and be a white man and you're gonna make it. They did all of that. And these men are still feeling broken and empty. They're still broke. They still don't have anything. And so what's happening as we sit there and watch, moisturized and calm and doing our thing, is that young white men are losing their shit because they're like, you said we're the only ones you want in the military. You want all the Negroes out. You want all the women out. You just want white men to be in the military. And now you want to do what with us? You want to send us to go die for Israel? So we're your shock troops to go do Bibi Netanyahu's wars? Oh, so it turns out all of this, religious bullshit you've been feeding us was just so that you could use us and that you could poison our communities with your stupid AI that's taking our jobs and taking our opportunities. And look, at the end of the day, I'm sure most of these white men are still going to vote Republican because they're just acculturated to do it. But at least it's interesting to watch them wake the fuck up because they have been lied to most of the time this country has existed. Young white men have been the key to getting really, really rich people to get over on everybody else. As long as young white men stay angry and they can have enough young white women to roll with them, the super rich, the Epstein class can rule this country. Because if white people ever paired up with non-white people and voted the way we vote, the Epstein class would never have another president, member of Congress, senator, governor. They wouldn't have a dog catcher because we all know what their racket is. It's a fucking grift. And we just sitting back waiting for the white folks to catch on. Because if y'all roll with us, they couldn't rule you anymore and they couldn't send you to war. We're just saying walk with us. But they stay so angry And it's if Fox does it, their podcasts do it. It's a grift. And there's nothing we can do. You and I cannot wake them up.
No.
Maybe Donald Trump pretending to be Jesus in an AI picture will start to wake some of them up, but they have to. It's like a cult. You have to come out of it on your own. We can't help you because you have to decide that you've had enough and that you've been used and lied to enough that you're ready for something new. That's it.
No, when Joy preaches, and she's on fire, you just pass her the gasoline or the oil that costs too much money. Uh,
Listen.
no, absolutely, because it's one of those situations where many of us on the wrong side of advantage, who have tasted both the American dream and the American nightmare, we have been trained and we have a special spidey sense where we could tell apart the prophets from the pharaohs. And then
Yep.
we try our best to tell so many of our privileged people of color and mostly white folks, this ain't the prophet. This is the Pharaoh. This is the Antichrist. This is the Broligarchy. They're raping your girls, your wealth, your resources. Join us against the 1%. Join us against the Epstein class. And like you said, they're like, nah, we're going to blame you for taking our right. And,
Right.
and, and then now you're seeing this crumble. I think there's something, someone was asking me, why is it all these people, all these white folks are waking up? It's not like Trump hasn't been blasphemous. I mean, folks, this is a pattern. He's a man who
Yes.
posted an a photo of himself as the Pope after
Yes.
first Pope was killed by J.D. Vance's a Mask of the Red Death touch, right? J.D.
Mhm.
Vance, can you also go to Israel elections? It's happening in a couple of months. Go visit Netanyahu. But I digress. So, but like he has been blasphemous. He has broken
Yes.
all the 10 commandments. Why now? And I think it's because of the blitzkrieg, Joy. It's
Yeah.
because of the war. He betrayed
Yeah.
his base and said no wars. He's in this
Yep.
unwinnable war. It's because people are waking up to Israel. It's because AI data centers are in their backyard.
And Epstein.
It's because he again lied on Epstein.
He
So he
did.
became on Epstein. They realize it's a cover up. They realize, oh my God, he lied about the economy. I'm paying more for gas prices. I'm paying more for food prices. And then on top of that, he just doubled down. And even though we live in the United States amnesia, he just won't stop. Let me be blasphemous on Easter. Let me follow it up the next day with a genocidal threat. Then less than a week later on Orthodox Sunday, let me like pick a fight with the Pope. Let me double down with my fight with the Pope. Let me double down on this war. And let me just keep pumping on my AI friends and crypto friends.
Yeah.
Let me have more data centers. Let ICE be
Mhm.
unleashed and like just straight up shoot people in the face. That happened, folks.
White people.
Let me kill white people. And then finally, because of this blitzkrieg of pain that is unavoidable, finally these white folks are like, you know what? That might be the Pharaoh.
You know what's so wild? I think part of it, Waj, and the reason that this is now happening, first of all, the information universe is just so much bigger and people can get information. So they don't have to rely on the three networks. And, CBS doesn't have the power to red pill enough people anymore, even though Barry Weiss has destroyed it. CBS has lost its power anyway. But what's happened is Donald Trump didn't just lie to his supporters. He got their favorite podcasters to lie to them.
Mm,
He got their favorite authentic to them podcasters, people who really necessarily weren't political. He got Joe Rogan to lie to them. He got the Nelk boys to lie to them. He got, he got the people they trust to lie to them. So now those people are looking at it and they're saying, wait a minute, he got Sneeko to lie at them. So
that's
it's
right.
not even just us, it's the people that we don't pay attention to, but they do. So a lot of these young, particularly white men, but there are a lot of, let's just be clear, there are a lot of young men of color in this too. I was talking with the brother from Hit Strategies, and he was saying the new swing voter group are young men of color
Yep.
who have swung back and forth wildly between Democrats and Republicans. They're not really aligned to either party. They're just on really economic self-interest, but they also really pay attention to like sports and athletics and stuff like that. So they're like also pulled into this podcast world. He got those podcasters who are popular with these young men to lie to them too. And
Yep.
so those podcasters are pissed about it. They don't like having been.
Joy's just froze. You all see Joy freeze? Oh no. Oh
Ooh,
no. Oh, there you go. Wait, let me bring her back. Um, for those who don't know what she's talking about, these weird ass names, Sneeko, Myron Gaines, clavicular, we'll talk about in a second. It's part of this young male influencer class.
I
And
promise you, Elon must be coming at me
yeah,
with
yeah. No,
Starlink.
I just gave, while you were gone for 2 seconds, I just tried to explain who these people were. People like Sneeko, Clavicular, Myron Gaines. What are you talking about? It's these young men. Sneeko is a person of color. Myron Gaines is a person of color. Uh, and all these young men were part of the bait to get these young dudes, not just
The
white dudes,
brothers, what are the two rapey brothers? The two
the
rapey
Tate brothers,
the Tate brothers.
Christian
Yeah,
and
they're
Andrew.
black too. Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and then yesterday, talking about how the grift, again, patterns, folks, patterns. I don't know if you saw this because you led us to something I wanted to talk about. Did you see yesterday, late night yesterday, Clavicular, this 20-year-old dude who literally has helped mainstream this term called looks maxing, where he
Mhm.
encourages young men to literally disfigure their bodies and take drugs and become this ideal representative of a male, so he's not a beta or a cuck. This guy
It's
OD'd on his live stream. He literally OD'd on his live stream. It was horrifying to watch. He's only 20 years
wow.
old. Just a couple of days ago, he crashed out during the 60 Minutes interview. The 60 Minutes interviewer said, well, some people associate with the incel crowd. And anytime these people go outside of their comfort zone and meet normies who just look at them and you're like, bro, you're a freak. I love my wife. This is hilarious. You're an idiot. And they get confronted, they always melt down. So
Yeah.
Clavicular just a couple of days ago, Sunday, 60 Minutes, was humiliated because he walked out of the 60 Minutes interview. Then yesterday, just completely high, overdosed, folks, on
Mhm.
camera, gets dragged out. And now this
Mm.
20-year-old guy who is an influencer for all these young men who literally takes drugs, takes hormones, and his dumbass friend, instead of giving him when you're having an overdose, I think you're supposed to get that Narcol. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Narcotal or something. Yeah.
Narcol something, right? You know what he's saying? "Hey, man, want some Addy? Want some Addy, bro? You
What?
want some Addy?" As the guy's overdosing. And so if you're looking at patterns, I saw that as a symbol. I'm like, in real time, Joy, here is their hero clavicular, literally Narcan, thank you, literally
Narcan.
overdosing in real time. It's all
Yeah.
falling apart.
And the reason you have so many incels, like, even Nicola Fuentes, the most ironic Mexican who ever lived, who's like sort of Nazi curious and very good communicator. He's become very popular. He lunched with Trump and was very very MAGA. Now he's very anti-Trump. These guys are incels because they've been red pilled so thoroughly that they're such assholes that women won't touch them. They want to be in relationships, but they are dicks.
That's
They
right.
hate women. They're mean to women. They're angry at men who are better looking than them. So they feel like they have to be maximally Nazi, sort of Nazified. And their groups are very all male. And so they're running around listening to the Tate brothers, who, yeah, if the Tate brothers are getting women, it's because they're keeping them confined and they can't get away. Like that there's not the Tate brothers aren't attractive because there's something great about their personalities. At least if you believe the allegations, those women may not wanna be around them. No, allegedly. I will say allegedly. We
Sex
don't know what's going.
trafficking, rape.
Allegedly,
Oh,
right? And so the
allegedly.
reality is these men are being told by some, and also a lot of them are becoming a lot more Christian nationalists. What are these Christian nationalists saying? Women should be obedient home. They shouldn't vote. There should be a family vote. A lot of these men are low-key abusive. Some of these pastors, Pastor Joel Webbon, you listen to him talk, you're like, who would marry this man? He seems mean. He seems to really hate women, but he's like demanding that women submit themselves to people like him. So they've built these young men into sort of untouchable creatures that women don't want. I mean, it's weird. I guess people, it's ironic to them that women want a guy that actually has like feelings and is nice to them. And they're like, nah, I'm going to treat you like shit. That's what you really want. And they're being told that that's real masculinity. So there is this like masculinity crisis and this loneliness crisis among young men. There's a dating crisis. I've got two sons. Like they're in this world trying to date. It's really hard. And young women are also being acculturated in a weird way that said men are supposed to be both completely taking care of you, but also completely like not. It's like young women are also being acculturated in a funny way. So we've really left our young people like not a lot of places to go. So they're going to these podcasters, and Donald Trump and MAGA took these guys, gave them a ton of money,
That's right.
and said, just get behind Trump, put on the MAGA hat. Yeah, trad wives. They're telling them be a trad wife, but also have a career. It's like a mess. And so young people are like kind of all over the place right now. And Donald Trump used them, but
And
they're the
yeah.
very age that are now going to be automatically drafted. The men, they're going to be automatically drafted along with the undocumented, along with the brown immigrants that Pete Hegseth said he didn't want in the military, the beardos he said he didn't want. They're all now getting drafted. I think a lot of them, because they're actually pretty savvy. These are smart kids. They understand AI. They understand their jobs are being taken by AI. And I think they realize that the whole American dream is feeling like bullshit to them right now. So and look, let's not give the Democrats any credit. The Democrats have done absolutely nothing to win these people over. They haven't presented an option that feels authentic either. So you just have a lot of people kind of unmoored. But I do respect the fact that a lot of them are at least being honest with themselves enough to say, we were had.
Everything is connected, folks, believe it or not. And speaking about these young men and these young women, I listen to them sometimes. I just want to see,
Same.
I have my ear on the ground. I'm like, why are they getting these men? And if you really listen to them, what it just bubbles up. We have no future.
Yeah.
We can't get a job.
Yeah.
Everything is effed. So everything is a joke. Who
Yeah.
gives a shit? Men can't be men. We're still living with our parents. Women
Yeah.
won't date us because, of
Yeah.
course, they don't have jobs. So F these women anyway. And all these women and then you get the massage, they're fat heifers anyway. In fact,
Yeah.
you don't even need women. In fact, if you have sex with women, you're gay. So you know
Right.
what? Join our community, join our
Yep.
in-groups. Everything's a joke. We're nihilistic. We're no longer even red pilled. We're a black pill. We're going to break it
Yes.
all down. We're not even right. We're not even left. Oh,
Mhm.
by the way, we're also against these forever wars. Oh, by the way, we don't want to die for Israel. Oh, by the way, here's also some anti-Semitism and some racism. But the core of it is they realize the system has effed them. The institutions have failed them. They have no
Yeah.
future. And if you look at all the polls of young people, when it comes to their, the metrics of their hope and optimism in the future, folks, it is so depressing. They don't have
Yeah.
it. So here in this massive vacuum steps in this group that promises them this short-term glory, right? Join this community, F the girls, be a man, get abs, right? F them bees, smoke some weed, make your money. But you see it's hollow, it falls apart. And this is where we have to take a shit on the Democrats. Because
Mhm.
I said something when you and Don invited me during No Kings. And, we ran out of time, but you and Don nodded because I want people might think I'm crazy. You see this group of people, you see this wide open lane where people are waking up against the Broligarchy. People are sick and tired. People realize the institutions are failing. People are done with dying for Israel. They're done with the genocide, right? They're done with AI. They're done with these rich bros. And what is happening is that you have Tucker Carlson, Nick Nazi Fuentes, Candace Owens realizing there's a wide open lane,
Yes.
a wide open lane to go against genocide. There's a
Yeah.
wide open lane to actually bring in some traditional values and masculinity and tied to, I don't know, like a personal self-respect. There's a wide open lane to go against Epstein. There's a wide open lane to go against this war and supporting Israel. You know what? We'll take it. In fact,
Yeah.
there's a wide open lane against AI. We'll take this
Mhm.
lane against AI. And
Mhm.
meanwhile, you have the Democrats saying, you know what we'll do? We'll run the people. Even now, folks, I'm not making this up. Ruben Gallego,
Promise you.
last week before he got into this Eric Swalwell heat, he threw his hand in the ring as president. And Ruben Gallego said, I think we still need ICE and we should still support APAC in Israel. And then Gavin Newsom said, taxing the billionaires, even though that's so popular, they're part of the big tent. And then you see all these corporate Democrats, centrist Democrats spend the last 3 weeks not talking against the war or against AI. Oh, no, no, no. They're
Mm.
talking about Hassan Piker. And then
Yes.
and then what I said, and then you and Don were like, preach, preach, say it. I said, I'm on these WhatsApps. I've traveled around America and Canada. Folks, the aunties, it ain't just young people. Aunties and people under 40 are being radicalized, sharing these
Yes.
clips of Tucker and
Yes.
Candace and Nick saying, I think these guys are onto something.
Mhm.
Joy, am I crazy? You tell
No,
them.
you're not.
I think I'm crazy.
I get them from my, cousins. I have my cousins who are all Obama Democrats, who are all completely liberal. They vote completely D, And they're sending me clips of Tucker Carlson saying, "Did you see what Tucker said? This actually makes sense." And I'm like, first of all, I've been saying that since 7th grade, and you never sent me a clip of me saying that about Palestine. So I don't want to hear you talking about him jumping on the bandwagon because he's an entrepreneur. He and Megyn Kelly and all of these people who could give two shits about brown people, especially about Muslims or even about Christians if they're brown. They don't care about these people.
No, no.
Candace Owens has never cared about this. She even admits that she didn't even really know much about it and care much about this whole issue of Israel and Palestine. Suddenly, because they're smarter than the Democrats, they're realizing that there's money to be made here. You're
That's
right,
right.
because the other thing that in your incredible litany of the sort of explanation of what these young people are dealing with, we have to also remember that a lot of these kids were born in the 90s. So their first sort of momentous event was 9/11 in 2001. And then from then, they've never been able to get on a plane without taking off their shoes unless they have pre-check. They've never lived in a world without complete security theater every time they go to the airport. And then once they get to the age when they're in their 20s and they're supposed to be having the best years of their lives, they're watching a genocide on their phones. They're sitting there all day, every day, watching people get killed in real time. Even during Vietnam, we were having to imagine, young people were imagining what their friends were going through, or they would get a letter from their friend talking about the horrors. You didn't really see the horrors of Vietnam until afterwards, when the video started coming home after, because the media really censored what was happening in Vietnam and they really wouldn't let you see it. We never saw anything of what happened in Gulf War I. We killed a lot of people in Gulf War I to try to take Kuwait's oil and, and control it. We never saw it. Even in the Iraq War, I remember sitting in a newsroom when they did shock and awe. And this was the day I decided to quit the news because all the people in my newsroom cheered
Wow.
as they're dropping bombs. And I said to these people, I said, "Are you people mad? There are people under there. We just killed a lot of people." And they're like, "We're talking." And they started saying, I was like, "This didn't have shit to do with 9/11. I was like, I got to get out of the news business because we just became so acculturated to death and to killing because we were killing in the name of whatever we were claiming was righteousness that we got anesthetized. Our kids are not anesthetized. They
Mm.
watch those children die. Little kids under the rubble, seeing their little feet stick out. I watched it all day. It traumatized me. And I've watched beheadings when I was covering ISIS.
Mm.
I've watched people being burned alive because I'm in the news business. I've seen a
Mm.
lot of horrible things. The genocide was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Mm.
And if it affected me as a post plus 50 plus Gen Xer, my kids were triply traumatized.
Yep.
So you're talking about these kids that are not just black pilled, they feel like it's not. People say, "Oh, video games will make them hard hearted." Nah, man, that wasn't a video game. That was real people Israel was slaughtering. And they knew it was real. And so and that's whether they were left or right.
That's
And
correct.
that's why they're neither left nor right. They're just angry and they have no leadership. And the Democrats, how could the most empathetic, I just was saying this on an interview yesterday, how could the most empathetic president in history, we loved Obama, but the empathy really in the Obama-Biden administration came from Biden. Biden was the one who said it's a big fucking deal when we got healthcare. Biden is the one who said, "You really are for gay marriage, Barack Obama. Come on, Barack, you know what you're really for." He's the one who outed him on that. Like, he was so empathetic to everyone. He saw a baby, he would hold it and kiss it and hug it. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Fuck them, them Gaza people. Let
That
them die."
empathy was completely missing for Palestinians. Completely.
I didn't understand it. And then
Absolute
it's like
vacancy.
the Palestinians couldn't even speak at the convention. We're just like, what is happening? The Democrats have shown no leadership on this. Why is Tucker Carlson a louder, stronger voice for not killing Palestinians than Hakeem Jeffries? Why is Candace Owens a louder, stronger voice for allowing the Lebanese people to just live and survive and not be genocided? Why is she a louder voice than Chuck Schumer? Why do I have to go to hear Nick Fuentes, a guy who's Nazi curious, speak more coherent facts about why we shouldn't be in a forever war than your average Democratic politician? What is happening here? And if they do even say anything mildly opposed to Israel, AIPAC wipes them off the map.
That's right.
And Hakeem Jeffries don't have a problem with that. They're still taking their money. Why is this little country controlling us? And why are you called anti-Semitic? If you say Israel is not the Jews.
Nope.
Israel is a country, and Zionism is a political ideology out of Europe. How are we equating this with an entire religion? No, they're no more the Jews than ISIS is the Muslims, or that Trump is the Christians.
Bringing it back full circle. It is no, that was listen to Joy, folks, and ignore them at your peril. They are radicalizing a lot of people. They're winning over a lot of people. People are no longer aligned with just Democrats and Republicans anymore. People are like, Democrats are winning. Look at Democrats' favorability rating. It's lower than Donald Trump. Young people are more and more radicalized. People aren't voting for Democrats. They're voting against Trump. That's what's
Yes, that's
and
right.
if you think you can just waltz into 2020 and 2032, assuming, inshallah, we have free and fair elections with the same old,
Okay.
folks, I give you Hungary. Magyar came out
Yes.
of nowhere. I give you 2007. Hillary Clinton was inevitable until she wasn't. I give you 2025. I interviewed Mamdani last year. He was a distant number two. Cuomo was inevitable until he wasn't. And folks, the day is April 15th, 2026, and our leaders refuse to look at the mirror. They refuse to look at their base. They refuse to listen to people's righteous rage, and they just go la 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 la. We'll just continue taking money from AI and crypto. We'll keep
Ugh.
sending money back up to the 1%. There'll be no accountability. Forever wars, military industrial complex. Yes, 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 BB, you get all the money that you need. And I'm telling y'all, people are fed up, and it ain't just the youth. Aunties are being radicalized, not just
Yes.
aunties, black aunties. All right.
Yes.
Just trust us on this. Our WhatsApps don't lie.
Mm.
And I cannot de-radicalize them anymore. I'm
Me
failing.
neither. Me too. And then, by the way, okay, so let me give you my radical thought. This is my radical thought because at this point, there's no more rules. The Constitution is defunct. There is no Constitution. Donald Trump is not held to it. Democrats are foolishly trying to give us back the status quo that didn't work anyway. This is all bullshit. And meanwhile, Zoran Mamdani, they just sent this to our team at the Joy Reid Show. We're going to do this story tonight. He just got Kathy Hochul, who is a normie, moderate Democrat, to agree with him to do a wealth tax on $5 million plus
Yep.
second home pied-à-terres in New York. Everybody was like, you're never going to tax the rich in New York. They're all going to leave. He was like, watch me work. This dude done taxed the rich in 4 months. He's already gotten taxed on the rich.
And they
He about to
didn't
make them
leave.
bust it. And they still there. Their asses is still right there with their little $5 million pied-à-terres. They ain't going nowhere. He's literally implementing the things he said he was going to do. And everybody said none of it was possible. This is my radical proposal. Fuck the Constitution. It don't apply to Trump. Why can't he run? Okay, he wasn't born here. They claim Obama wasn't born here. How they gonna prove he wasn't born here? I mean, these people lie. They were trying to say Marco Rubio wasn't born here and he shouldn't be president. They try to say Kamala Harris is not a natural born citizen. They don't believe none of our actual natural born citizens are natural born citizens. At this point, I say run and let the Supreme Court sort it out.
You know what?
That young man should run and let the Supreme. If they already said that Article 3 of Section 14 of the 14th Amendment is defunct. That you can be an insurrectionist and run for president. They don't believe that the what do you call it? Emoluments clause, that's out the window. Donald Trump is making money as president. He's selling the presidency. He's selling crypto from the White House. He's knocking down the East Wing with no authority. This dude put his name on the Kennedy Center with no congressional authority. He done claims that he renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War, no congressional vote. He claims he renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. That's not fucking legal. Nothing he's doing is legal. So at this point, I'm like, you know what, Mamdani, if you want to be president, baby boy, go ahead and run. I'll support you. Go ahead and run for president. Let them sort that shit out. You sort it out. You figure out why he can't be president and let John Roberts, I double dare John Roberts to say that Donald Trump can be a criminal, Constitution shredding, emoluments clause busting, profiting from the White House, civilly adjudicated sexual abuser president. And that young man can't be president. He's an insurrectionist and he's the president. I double dare you, John Roberts. Tell me how that man can't be president. Or maybe you should run. And somebody should run. Somebody underage. Let's get a 15-year-old to run. We have to do something crazy in 2028. These standard politicians, that ain't it, man.
Joy Ann is Angela Bassett from Waiting to Exhale in that scene
Where's
where
my lighter?
the cigarette and the
Burn it down.
quotes. Or here's a crazy idea. Very
Please.
crazy. Let me add +1 you before we leave. Because I kept you longer, but you were on a roll. And Rick Wilson's gonna get angry with me. I gotta join him. But how about this? Democrats, see what Zoran is saying and just copy that.
Just copy him.
Literally, he's doing all the work. Children of immigrants, they do all the work. The brown man is doing all the work. Copy paste. All you got to do, mother effers, is copy paste, and they still won't do it.
They still won't
Um,
do it. No, you know what they do, Watch? They just say the words he's saying. They say affordability, affordability, affordability,
there's
and they're
no
like, "See,
specific.
you see I said affordability, right? Did you hear me say affordability?" And it's like, that's not what he's doing.
They're the worst. Joy, always a pleasure. In fact, it's so fun that I'll be on your show tonight at
Yes.
6:20. Shamelessly promote yourself before we head out.
Absolutely. If you guys want more of this fun Joy and Waj fabulousness, you can see it tonight on The Joy Reid Show. It's thejoyreidshow.com or also at joyannreid.com right here on Substack. You can watch it, stream it, enjoy it, clip it. And we know it's going to piss off the right. But you know what? It's part of our calling.
Yeah,
It's part of our faith calling.
someone would say God has asked us to do this at this moment.
We're trying to earn our wings, guys. We don't want to go
Some,
to hell with Trump.
some would say that. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Joy. A pleasure as always. Looking forward to see you tonight. Please subscribe
Yes,
to Joanne Substack. Watch
please.
her YouTube channel. It's growing. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. This is The Left Hook. Everything is free. If you can become a paid subscriber, great. If not, it's okay. It's free. Just subscribe. I'll have this up for the 2,000 people watching. Fantastic. Join us tonight and join me in a minute where I'll be joining Rick Wilson. Thank you all. Be kind, be informed. Don't join the Pharaoh. And please, oh, please don't be a fascist. See you tonight, Joy.
See you tonight. Bye,
Bye.
Waj.